Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ask an Assistant, the podcast for executive assistants and the people that love us. I'm your host, Jess Lindgren. Let's get to work. This week's question comes from esteemed colleague David, who wrote in via askanassistant.com with the following question. David says, "Hi Jess, my company receives at least half a dozen requests every week for a donation of or scholarship for our offerings. Think coaching and digital products. We want to be generous and help people, but we also have to keep the lights on. How do we tactfully handle the regular influx of requests for free products and services?" David, I feel this in my bones. Like, my executive used to publish a monthly income report, and this was when we first started working together, over a decade ago. He was making tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars every month in affiliate partnership, speaking engagement. Like, he made a lot of money and told the entire internet about it. Like, the things that I could tell you about how and what people would ask us for. Unfortunately, that is a different story for a different day. When it comes to how to handle the influx of requests, like many things in life and business, I'm going to direct you to the legal and financial professionals in your life. Your legal professionals, start with them. They will help you develop a policy that you can subsequently follow, which adheres to any and or all applicable local, whether that's city, state, country, industry, whatever it is. It's going to help you adhere to any applicable laws. You're going to want to document any giving that you do, and make sure to implement the policy fairly and consistently. Your legal professional and or professionals will also help you to determine what kind of proof is needed to qualify for whatever it is that you have to give. You're going to need to figure out. It's going to vary by industry, by company, what have you. But you're going to need to find and or figure out if some kind of official paperwork like a pay stub or a government issued ID might be needed, or if it's something more along the lines of an application form like an RFP or an application. That you develop and then use internally. But just make sure that when you are, whatever the policy turns out to be, whether it's you take a copy of someone's government ID or you have them fill out the application form, make sure that you're doing it the same for everyone every time. Pivoting along to your financial professionals, they are going to assist you in figuring out how many products, services, and or dollars you can give away, and to what advantage. If you can't do full-on giveaways, you might even be able to have a set limit of discounted rates that you can give out in a certain time frame. And I do want to stop right there, because I did say to your advantage, like to your company's advantage, and we are talking about financial professionals. I love paying taxes, and I really hope that anybody listening to this podcast episode does too. Schools and roads are two of my absolute favorite things in the world. Pay your taxes. We are not looking for loopholes or anything like that, especially not here at Ask an Assistant. However, that being said, I will fully acknowledge that there can be benefits to making charitable contributions, whether that's through donations in kind of your products and or services. Like, let's say you are a caterer and you're going to furnish catering for a party. That's an in-kind donation rather than donating straight cash. You can also donate, not just products and services, you can donate money to people, to organizations, whatever it is. And not necessarily in exchange for strictly tax advantaged benefits. You could be named in a prominent place like a donor wall, a dedicated seat in a theater, mentions in a newsletter, logo placements at events. You might even just get repaid in warm fuzzies and just know that you did a nice thing. That works too. Now that we've touched on the legal and financial decisions that must be made, you also need to make the decision with your heart and with the 5 W's. So that, going back, y'all know it, y'all love it. It's the who, what, when, where, and why. Who will benefit? What will you give? When will you give? Where will you give? And why will you give? I really like to recommend that you figure out an intersectional reason why your organization, your company, yourself wants to donate. A few worthy examples here in the United States in the year 2025, Black women are being impacted the hardest by the current state of economic affairs in the United States in the year 2025. It's just an evergreen problem, and one that is rearing its ugly head in a really unfortunate and even more unfair way here in 2025. Teachers, you might even pick a specific demographic of teachers. You might pick like first-year teachers. You might pick retiring teachers. You might pick teachers who just graduated from a secondary higher level of education. Like, there are definitely different demographics of teachers. You might even, if you're just like, you were an art kid when you were growing up, you can just say, you know what, our organization donates to art teachers. That's intersectional. That's teachers and that's art. Like, you'd be surprised at the intersectionalities that exist in just about every aspect of our world. Teachers, no matter what their demographic, they are perpetually underpaid and overworked, and teachers deserve the absolute world. So, very worthy cause. Another example, people whose homes were lost in the LA fires earlier this year. Because you are based in Los Angeles, you have a charitable bent, and you are Beyonce. Like, lots of options and ideas out there. Depending on the exact products and or services that your company offers, the 5 W's might be super easy to figure out. While researching for this episode, I found out that Ben & Jerry's ice cream has a charitable wing that has given over $70 million. That is 70 million with an M. $70 million to organizations that focus on social justice issues, both in the state of Vermont and nationally in the United States. They are headquartered in Vermont. They are all about social justice. If you know anything about Ben & Jerry's ice cream, who knows, who's to say just how much ice cream that they give away, but I'm sure that the money that they give through grants is very appreciated and put to good work. Using Ben & Jerry's with the 5 W's. Who? Ben & Jerry's. They're the company. They're the people with the money to give. They're the company that's going to give it away. They give to Vermont and national organizations. So Ben & Jerry's are the giver. That's one branch of the who. And then people and or organizations in Vermont and in the United States. That's the other part of the who. What? They give money. Possibly ice cream, but they don't really go into detail about that on their giving page. When? On their determined grant giving schedule. I did not dive deep into this. I am not a Vermont person, nor am I focused on social justice. So I am not going to be applying for, nor will I be receiving any of their grant money. Where? They give to organizations in Vermont first and the United States also, or secondary. Again, I didn't dive too deep, but just looking for more of a surface level who, what, when, where, why. And speaking of, look at that. That was the where, here's the why. Because they have profits to share and they believe in grassroots organizations that help make the world a better place. 5 W's right there. Esteemed colleague David, pivoting back to you, if we are using your example of information products and coaching services, who? Your company, or perhaps even individual coaches that work at your company might elect to participate in a free coaching session program. The other side of the who, if we're, kind of like the example with Ben & Jerry's that we just gave, there's the company that's going to give, and then who's going to receive. Who's giving? Your company is giving. Maybe the company at large, maybe individual coaches. Who is receiving? Figure out what it is. If it's a company level decision, if it's a per coach level decision, like when Jeopardy does I don't think they do this for the Tournament of Champions, but I know they do it for Masters, Jeopardy Masters. Each person competing in the tournament. Maybe it's just the top 3 winners. We've watched a lot of Jeopardy in the last few months in our household. But each of the masters, I remember Ken asking them about organizations that they support. And I think Jeopardy made a donation on the master's behalf. I think it was the winner, like gets a big chunk of change for themselves and a big chunk of change for their organization. I kind of lost track of my thread there, so I'm just going to go back. Who is it? Your company, maybe even the individual coaches that are giving things away, and who's receiving. Like figure out who it is that at a company level might be doing the receiving, or okay, here's where I'm picking that thread back up. Maybe each coach gets to pick their own organization. Like maybe Coach A wants to donate to a dog shelter because they have a rescue pit bull at home. Maybe Coach B wants to donate to the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America program. Like you can set parameters for stuff like that, or come to a consensus as a company as to who is going to benefit from your generosity. In your example, David, you are giving away coaching services, your digital products. Maybe your legal and financial professionals might even say, you know what, it's too complex giving away the digital products or coaching services. We're just going to do cash. All of those are totally valid. When your company might choose to allocate a certain number of donations or scholarships, or if it's like an online course that you offer, maybe it's seats in the online course. You might designate a certain number every week, every month, every quarter, every year. All of them are super valid choices, super generous choices. I think and or desperately hope that there isn't a right way to do philanthropy, but, do what feels right and do what your legal and financial professionals advise you to do. Where your company, you said, specializes in information products, digital products, coaching sessions, it seems right that you might choose to give them away on the internet. And why? Because just like your original question, you want to be generous and help whatever demographic of people that your company and or coaches land on. When folks reach out who meet your giving criteria, excellent. Direct them toward your giving process and have them follow the guidelines that you developed and agreed on with your legal and or financial professionals. When folks reach out who do not meet your giving criteria, this is also awesome. You can tell them that while you appreciate their interest in your organization, your giving allocated is it's allocated to a specific demographic. As time passes, you will have annual reports, maybe photos from events or testimonials from people who have benefited from scholarships, seats in your classes, free copies of your information product, free coaching sessions, whatever it is. But you're going to compile that information over the years and have information then to share with folks as social proof of your philanthropy. And then when you've given what you have to give to folks who meet your giving criteria, you're probably going to reach a cap. Like that just is what it is. There's some subreddit out there. I forget exactly what it's called, but basically like anytime anybody gets wind of something being given away for free, sometimes you might unfortunately get totally flooded with applications and whatnot. So at some point, whether in good faith or not as good faith, you will probably reach your cap on what you had to give, no matter what it is that your legal and financial professionals guide you to do. If you're feeling fancy, you can choose to maintain a wait list for those who might like to benefit. This can be as simple as a Google form, collect their information, name, email address, and or phone number, and then you can make calls or send emails when giving has opened back up again. And again, whether that's weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, whatever, maintaining that database is a great way to stay in touch with people and can be low lift on your part, but keep it simple, If you happen to have an email marketing system in place like Kit, Substack, anything similar that I didn't name out of the tens of thousands of different platforms that exist. Those are just the ones I'm familiar with. Have folks sign up for emails. You can direct people to follow you on social media channels or direct them wherever you might be making your giving announcement when the time is right. And that's everything for this week. Esteemed colleague David, thank you so much for your question. And what a kind and generous question. Like, truly, I hope your organization, this is a great time of year to be thinking about that kind of thing. The start of the new year is coming up way faster than any of us want it to. Somehow it is already a third of the way through September. And October, November, December, baby, that's Q4. Like, we're in it, up to our eyeballs in Q4. Faster than any of us will even be able to comprehend. But having your giving in place by the new year, it's a great it's a great time to start new big projects, endeavors, initiatives, what have you, starting fresh, especially if there's going to be a giving arm involved. Again, how kind, how generous, how wonderful. Definitely a big project, something to work toward, and I hope it goes well for you. Like I said, that's all for this week. I hope you're all feeling happy, healthy, hydrated, or as many of the three as you can. As always, leave your comments, questions, thoughts, and concerns for me at askanassistant.com. And until next week, take care.